Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. I am your host, Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter. You can find me at NewsNerdNeed on Twitter. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram.
South Carolina with Columbia down the way.
And sound effect you've heard come from none other than our man in Brooklyn, @agent_70, and on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads.
What's up, everybody? Co-hosting from the Borough of Kings, live and direct tonight on a regular night, believe it or not.
Just a kid from Brooklyn.
Indeed. And you can find this here podcast on the Coastal of the Podcast Network. That's cspn.us.
Do it today.
You could also find us on something type at the same and talk at the same time. You can find us also on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Coastal of the Podcast Network SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that helps listeners find our show.
Folks, we got a good show for you. We always have, well, I would like to believe we always have a good show for you tonight. But I'm saying it's because, well, due back to regular format and back to the regular night, we got some stuff to talk about on the live action / animated front, because we are going to start off with the first 2 episodes of Star Wars: The Acolyte. Might as well say season 1, because it sounds like they're puckering up for a season 2, or potentially a season 2. But the episodes are called, first episode is Lost Found, and the second one is called Revenge Justice.
All right. So I just watched these, and they kind of meld together because you really do have to watch the 2 episodes together in order to really appreciate where the story is going and how it's really being set up. Right. I don't think the first episode on its own is all that strong, but I think you do need to watch the 2 episodes back to back, or closely in close succession, in order to really appreciate the story that they're trying to tell and the performances that are being put out there by Amanda Stenberg in a surprise role, because it's not revealed. There is a twist in the first episode that's revealed relatively early on, but it's made clearer as the story is being told. Mm-hmm. So, she is doing extra work. We'll put it that way. And I'll say that I'm just hoping we see more of a certain actress and a certain character. I think that a certain actor I didn't recognize from The Good Place popped up. I was like, oh, wait, that's the character he's playing? Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think I said the same thing. I was like, wait, I know this dude, because he kind of has an Ezra Miller look to him.
Kinda, because of the makeup, right? Because of the way they put the way they shaped his wig and his hair. Because
just in general, also,
you think so?
Yeah, because even when he was on The Good Place, it was kind of there. I'm not saying like it's a close, but you can kind of see it.
Right. It's the framework of his face, even though he's definitely Asian.
Right.
I get that. I get
right.
that. It's not like a resemblance, but it's the way his face is framed.
Right.
Yeah.
So. And yeah, because I think like you, I was like, wait, I know this dude. I was like, oh yeah, Good Place. Yeah, dang, that dude.
Yeah. Portals.
Yeah, which I need to finish Good Place, because I think I only watched first season.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
what else? So we see the Jedi basically running an investigation, and there are some interesting I guess, inside baseball things about the state of the Jedi Order at this point in history, which is roughly 100 years before the rise of the Empire, which is, it's hard to tell exactly how many years this is before Phantom Menace, how many years it's before, whatchamacallit, what's the third one of the prequels?
Revenge of the Sith. But I think they
Revenge
do
of-
say, I think they do say it is 100 years before the sequel prequels, which basically 100 years before Phantom Menace, in other words.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we're at the
So
tail
I guess
end.
that's roughly, exactly. That's the rough window.
Yeah.
Right, that's the rough window we're in.
Right, which kind of threw me. Sorry about but kind of threw me off because there are some people that we see very early on that you, if you remember the prequels, you saw early on in the prequels. And I'm like, wait a minute, what are they doing here? And then you think about the time frame, like, well, yeah, that could happen.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I enjoyed it. I think they're putting together a good story. I'm really trying not to spoil it. It's only been out for a few days. What are your thoughts?
So outside of that, like, yeah, you pretty much nailed everything. Like, we definitely get the setup here of what's going on. There, the Jedi investigation. The trailer kind of says something about this, so it's not necessarily spoilerish in that there is not necessarily a mystery, but there's a little bit of a revenge plot going on here. I want to say that the trailers may have talked about that. So there's the investigation on one side, and then there's the revenge plot on one side, and all of this takes place, as we just said, at the tail end of the High Republic, which, from what I know of the High Republic, from what I've read, definitely started like a good 1,000 or so years before the prequels. I think in some cases, some would say like 5,000, but that might not be right. It might have been just 1,000. And I guess this is pretty much intimating that it held on like until this, which is the very tail end of the High Republic, which makes sense because we do know, in High Republic, there's like, it's like, hey, it's Jedi's were all over the place and prosperous, and while they were keepers of the peace and whatnot, there was not really any of the known adversarials in place, and this is just me speculating, but I this is probably out there too, that those are probably going to come in with this series. And that's pretty much the crux of it. It, like I said, yeah, like it just said, the first episode does kind of give you the the rough preview of what's going on here, or what's going on here, but it really does kind of get into it when you get into the second one, which is probably the reason why they put them both together like they did, so you can kind of get both these episodes in and hit the ground running with the rest of the series. Which, now that I think about it, how many episodes is going to be? Real quick. Oops. 8 episodes in total, looks like. So we only got 6 left.
Right, so it's only 8 episodes. We're a quarter of the way through.
Mm-hmm. Which, not surprising. I mean, it's not like any of these series have been lengthy, especially the live action ones.
I had one thing to add at the end of the second episode. Reminded me of a character I had created when I was playing Star Wars role playing.
Oh, do tell.
Oh yeah, it's a certain type of alien race Jedi.
Right. Which, if it's the same one, if it's who I'm thinking of, I saw another article talking about, well, this show broke the rules of the Jedi with this. I'm like, no, they matter of fact,
did it in animated already.
Right. Well, not only animated, but in High Republic. Like, no, it's been all up and through all up and through here.
Yep.
What are you talking about, broke rules? What are y'all doing? But it's also, I think, I'm almost fairly certain to say that was probably a Screen Rant article. So
Yeah.
get what you get on that. I'm like, all right, and that's why I didn't even read the article. I saw the title, like, you don't know what you're talking about, clearly. I know clickbait when I see it. I may play into it for reasons, but I don't always fall into it. But nevertheless, I think it's a fairly decent start to the show. Like I said, we know what we're getting into with this, and it's just a matter of seeing where they go with it. I don't know if you have anything else in closing.
That's pretty much. That's pretty much it.
Cool. In that case, we oh, I knew I forgot something. Find folks about later. We're going to get into the next show that we're going to talk about, which is My Adventures with Superman season 2 episode 3, Fullmetal Scientist, which I love this. I loved it. If you're an anime fan, you know why you love it too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. I don't have the best recollection of this because Roddykat and I were just talking about this, but ultimately this episode serves to tie a couple of story threads together, and also introduces what seems like a new-ish character, but the character is 30 years old now. It was introduced 30 years ago. That being a person named after a folk hero.
Sure. Well, I was going to say, yes, so we get the introduction of a Superman adjacent ally.
Right.
And even see potential shades of a potential future for this character, I will say. And I know that's still kind of broad, but hey, the show just even though the show's been out a few days at this point, we still don't want to spoil it too much. But we also get another I guess you can call it Superman adjacent, but not entirely reason. Let's just say a Justice League adjacent character in a way, especially if you're thinking modern and live action version. We get someone that is adjacent to a character that we might see in the future, but it doesn't sound like they have set this other character up. They're not going to set this other character up because of their age at this point. In fact, we got a couple of characters like that. One that we've already seen in the past season or two that is adjacent to the first character we were talking about. And then there's other one where we see, we might end up seeing something from the character that this character is attached to somewhere down the line. Matter of fact, they were even referenced in a way during the course of this, but I suspect we're not going to get the character that they're adjacent to for quite a while, from what it sounds like anyway. Or even if we ever going to get it in the show, this show doesn't seem like it's going to play it like that, but we don't know.
Yeah, they might modify that, modify everything, make it look more comic-esque.
They could, and probably have to do something with with the well, like I said, the way they described the character, or at least the what little that we got of the character that was mentioned, if they do end up bringing him into the show, they'll probably do something with the with the age constraints and whatnot, and probably in his back, or a part of his backstory that about him.
Right.
So
right. All right.
But that being said, yeah, it was a good episode, and like it's still furthering this furthering the season, and because we get at the end of it, we kind of get a little bit of machinations going on with some folks, and
sure, someone who still has hair.
Yes. At this point,
that is a big hint.
Yes, indeed it is, and also future leanings into a potential future adversary for Superman. Right. That comes out of this. Yeah, it was a. I'm not gonna say loaded. That's a little stretch for this, but there was some things happened in this episode that will probably likely come back. Come back at some point, I would think. I would like to believe anyway. So, but the show still ends up being fun, and we will be talking more of my adventures with Superman later on in the show. In fact, not in too much farther from now, because unless Agent 70's got something else to say, something else we want to mention about the show.
No, we can move on.
Cool.
President Bartlett.
What's next?
All right, let's get into the books of the week, starting with, as I should have pulled up the cover of this, Scarlett, number 1 of 5.
This is the Skybound Image G.I. Joe universe, the Energon universe. Scarlett, number 1 of 5, is written by Kelly Thompson, with art by Marco Ferrari, colors by Lee Luffridge, and letters by Russ Wooton. We are introduced into the Energon universe's version of Scarlett in a very different context than what we are used to seeing of her in the Marvel Comics, in the animated series. Maybe a little closer to the live action stuff, but we try to pretend none of that stuff happened. Ultimately, though, we have Scarlett being, I think, I want to say there might have been an animated adaptation that has a large that has a very strong similarity to this story, which has Scarlett very much like one of the high level martial artists in the G.I. Joe universe, which was always kind of the case because, if you recall, in the very first issue of G.I. Joe in which Storm Shadow was introduced, hint, hint, that also happens in this issue.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlett is portrayed as one of the biggest, baddest badasses in the G.I. Joe on the G.I. Joe roster. So, it's there, but they introduce her in a slightly different martial arts context.
Right. And to be clear, she's not a slouch here either. So
right.
But yeah, there's a couple of relationships that I would also, going off of what you said, there might have been an IDW book or two when they got the license that might have also kind of played into that a little bit. I'm not entirely sure. Not Real American Hero, because obviously that's
right.
Larry Hama continuing his work, but one of the others. So, but that being said, there was a couple of relationships that are brought up in this particular issue, that one of which you kind of know about from the animated series, but probably not in the same way as you. More like the beginnings. Well, we're not necessarily clear because there's some things that haven't been said here yet about that. But there's definitely one relationship here that is, from what I know, from everything that I've seen and read outside of some stuff that I haven't really gotten around to. There's a relationship here that was established between Scarlett and another character that I don't think was the case prior to this. But in this, and in relation to a certain clan and the way she's portrayed and what Agent 70 is hinted towards, in this context kind of makes some sense. It's like, it doesn't seem like a new relationship here, but it's working. I'll say that part. Mm-hmm. So I said I don't want to say too much without spoiling anything. If you're watching the video version, you can see the cover, so you can kind of get shades of a couple of things that definitely get brought up in this issue. And we're not entirely, well, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe Agent 70 is, but I'm not entirely sure of where Scarlett is in relation to the Joes. It can be assumed that she is already, adjacent to the team, and they just hadn't said, hey.
Definitely. Yeah, I was about to say adjacent is probably the best way to put it, because much like the Special Operations Group units in the United States military, the Green Berets operate independently of the SEALs, operate independently of um, uh, uh,
Maybe.
no, that's the SEALs. I'm
Right.
thinking of um, the Marine one. I think that's like is it Force Recon? But the point is, each branch basically has like their own special operations group.
Sure.
So that's one way of looking at it.
Right. But in the terms of the Energon universe at large and how the time frames are shaping up here, we still don't know where it is. Like I said, because Duke is already finished and that's already being set up for that.
Right.
Cobra Commander is finished on that end, and Destro's coming up. So we still don't necessarily have a full time frame of when this story is in relation to those.
Right.
And I guess Transformers also, but that's relevant to at this point. So, but yeah, she's doing a little. They do a job of setting her up and establishing, um, the mission that she has ahead of her, and like I said, the aforementioned relationship that was not known before then. Or before now.
Right. I'm surprised. I'm like, has that existed before in the comics?
That's what I'm saying. I don't,
a camaraderie relationship.
Right. I don't recall that being the case in any of the IDW books that I've read. So, in fact,
or even even the Real American Hero books.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. This seems like something that was that is brand new to this, unless it came up in like a Devil's Due book or something like that. But I doubt they're I don't know.
But make mention of the fact that Scarlett's actually more of a spy nowadays, so she's in some form of like counterintelligence or intelligence. So
right,
that's an interesting nod, and I think that Skybound is doing an excellent job of staying clear of the one character who is proven to be like the focal point for a lot of the G.I. Joe stories. And I'm kind of curious to see when they decide to spring this particular character on everybody.
Right, and I suspect if it's probably not by the end of this miniseries, it's probably got to be somewhere before getting into the G.I. Joe book, which is not until like around October, November sometime.
Yeah.
So I would suspect by the end of this book we will probably see that character.
In some form, maybe not in the full form, maybe not fully formed, but in some form.
Right. That is my speculation there, because like I said, I can't see. I mean, it could show up in the Destro book. I doubt it, but it could very well. Because it's not like they haven't done it. Hell, Destro showed up in Duke's book, so
right,
and then ended up showing up in spoiler alerts in Cobra Commander at some point. So, so yeah, we'll see. But yeah, like I said, look, loving it so far. It's a strong start of the of this. Yeah. Of this series, which did we say? We did say who.
What's that?
Team. We did say the creative team, did we?
Yeah, of course I did.
Okay.
What I was going to mention about the creative team and the art by Marco Ferrari is that there are a couple of action sequences that he drew that made it look like he was very much influenced by Frank Miller's ninja drawings. Okay. Everything from the Wolverine limited series to Ronin to anytime you see Frank Miller draw ninjas, it seems very much like martial arts as drawn by Frank Miller.
Right.
Daredevil especially.
Right. Yeah, I guess I could. Now that you say that, I guess I'm thinking of a couple of pages. Yeah, I could probably see that actually. But yeah,
just a resemblance. It's not like he's aping it. It's just a resemblance.
Right. So, but yeah, like I said, good stuff, good start, and like I said, if it's anything like the last couple of Dukes and Cobra Commander series, we're probably in for a treat. That being said, we're gonna go to the next book we have in common, which is Ultimates #1.
Ultimates #1 is written by Dennis Camp, with art by Juan Frigeri, colors by Federico Blee, and letters by VC's Travis Lanham. I got a kick out of reading this book because it's very much told in third person, and it's like, oh, this is what happens here. Yeah, I think this is what's going to happen now, and it sets up the premise of the book, which is fun. Which is that this Ultimates team only has a set number of months to fix things, or else things will go to hell in a handbasket. And it's interesting to see this particular group come together. They instantly nerf Thor, which is funny. Right? They do something to keep him from being the end all be all last resort powerhouse that he often is in Marvel's versions of the Avengers, right? So, but ultimately, I really like the subtle introductions of these characters who have almost quite literally been dug out from underneath somewhere. We all know who I'm talking about there. And I definitely appreciate that they did not portray this version as do you think this A on my head stands for France, even though I love that line back in the day. I know it stands for retreat or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? Retreat.
Yes.
You think this A on my head stands for France? I love that line back in the day.
Oh man. Yeah, coming into this, I was thinking about trying to go back and reread the original Ultimates just for giggles, but that has not happened yet.
Right.
And I, by the way, you don't need to do that before this because this is a very different take because of the changes to the universe.
Right.
So.
And to a certain extent, I love that this is very much nod, wink, wink to the 616.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because there's a certain character who decides to own his alternate self's faults, the faults of his alternate self, and sees them in himself, but decides to move forward anyway, and hopefully in a new direction. And I really enjoyed that. I was like, you know what? Good for him.
Yeah, because I was kind of worried of like, are they really going to do this? They've taken strides to not do the same thing as they did with the original Ultimate Universe, and seeing that kind of like, all right, we'll see if that lasts, or if they don't fall back into the other. Because at the beginning, I was like, okay, I see shades of this, but yeah, like you said, he sees himself and not trying to do that. So I was like, okay,
because he's got the data. That's what's wild.
Right.
It's metatextual in that regard,
right?
Because he is reading as though the information he has is as though he is a comic book reader, right?
Right.
Because he's got the info on the 616 universe, and that's the conceit here, is that this is a universe where the 616 should have happened but didn't.
Right.
So it's an interesting way of telling the story for this particular character, right. But like I said, I definitely appreciated that one character was not a racist jerk off. Once they de-iced him.
Right.
And I particularly like that Lady Sith is running around with the Avengers right now. I like that.
Yeah. We have a news on another set of. Well, I don't think she's in that group now that I think about it, but we'll talk about that later on. Regardless, though, this is a potential click of the week for me. One and two, as Agent 70 kind of sort of was trying not to mention, we do get some time shenanigans kind of working with us here.
Yeah, we do.
The time frame as Agent 70 that did mention kind of sounds like, oh, they're leading up to an event. Like, are they going to have events? Well, of course they're going to have events in the Ultimate Universe because they did in the past. But regardless, but we see what we've gotten the answer to stuff that we've seen in books like, say, Ultimate Spider-Man, particularly,
right?
Because there was a question of how and when, or whatever the case may be, certain things happen, and that gets answered here. As to how things come about with trying to reshape the world. So, which is good. And this is, like I said, potential click of the week for me for that. And I kind of upset with myself for not picking up a copy of this, but hopefully there will be a copy at the store. I'm gonna roll in there There's actually reminds me of something else that I picked up at the store that I totally forgot to read. But I don't think you did either. Now that I think about it, nope, you did not.
What is it?
Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Yeah. Or was that wasn't old? No. That what was the last issue of? You know what? We'll talk about it later. Don't worry about it because it's not coming out for either one of us.
There's an Iron Man Modern Era Epic Collection that came out this week. There's no Iron Man book.
Okay, so was that the book that already came out then that I'm tripping about? Now
I'm looking at comic lists, so
yeah, I don't remember seeing it when I pulled covers either. That's why, but I remember I thought when I saw it in the store, I thought it came up from this week, but that might have been an old book, a book that came out last week that I forgot to read. So either way, it's still irrelevant to the here and now. But I wanted to check out that book because it was like, oh, I picked this up just in case it's worth something. And then you get that kind of mentality, and that's where I was with the Ultimates, but I totally forgot to pick up this from the store.
All right.
Regardless, though, we're going to push on to the next book, which is Miss Marvel Mutant Menace number 4 of 4.
All right. Ms. Marvel Mutant Menace number 4 is written by Iman Vellani and Sabir Pirzada, with art by Scott Godlewski, colors Eric Arciniega, letters are by our favorite lettering paisan, VC's Joe Caramagna. In this final issue of this 4-issue limited series, we get to see a little bit of the exploration of a little concept in mutant resurrection that I thought was pretty smart for the writers or even editorial to pick up on, and giving these writers a chance to write about it. I thought that was very smart.
Yep.
Because when the explanation of a certain of something happening with Kamala Khan's powers comes up, you're like, oh, that makes absolute nonsensical comic book sense.
Right. And it's
right.
something
It's also nonsensical because it's fake, right? Like it's completely made up. But at the same time, it makes logic. You know, it's a logical conclusion that you can reach. Like, oh, this is happening because when this happened, they forgot that this had to happen in order for this to work.
Right. And I was about to say it's something that has come up before in the same situation, except for the fact that, well, they willingly said, no, I don't want to, just get rid of this or get rid of that or something. Like they willingly either left off something or brought something in, in reference to like other characters, like say Wolverine, because you gotta have the antimantium or whatever the case may be. So, but yeah, that was great that they put that in there. I was like, oh yeah, because when I got to that point, it was like, oh right, I forgot that's the thing with the protocols that they either could think about or don't think about. In this case, they either didn't think about or left it out. One of the two.
Exactly. I thought that was a really nice touch. And ultimately, at the end of this issue, we find ourselves at a certain status quo for most mutants, and we find Ms. Marvel in that same category. And it's interesting. It seems sudden, right? It seems that her closest allies, her closest personal allies, wouldn't turn on her, but they unfortunately do, which is wild to me. I'm like, wait, after all this time, that's how they're gonna act now?
Well, because one, they don't know
mind wiping. Exactly.
And also, yeah, I feel like, well, this is basically her officially becoming a mutant, because even as they say in the book, like, yeah, some mutants sees this as a badge of honor, or as a badge, not necessarily of honor, but like when you get to the feared and hated part of the journey, that's when you've become a mutant. And now Kamala's there. Right. We also see shades of what we thought was going to happen, or at least what I thought was going to happen during the course of this miniseries, in the form of her fighting herself, but a kind of an MCU leaning version of herself.
Yes.
That seemed like it was going to go to making that be part of her and it sounds like it still very well could at some point.
I think that's where they're leading.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the whole point of this kind of not side story, but it's almost like another character's that eventually bring that that stage of Kamala's development, you know, and help her complete that, because they're saying, at least story wise, that it won't happen for a long time. But I feel that this recurring character has an interest, for whatever reason, in bringing that part out.
Right. Which, reading that part was like, wow, it's kind of similar to what's going on what was going up until recently in Miles's book, except for with a better laid out advert. Well, I'm going to go ahead and call her adversary, because we still don't know her, what she really wants with her.
Right.
Because even coming into this in the last thing, it kind of seemed like, well, she wasn't trying to do any good. You know, I mean, she was basically setting herself up as a nemesis.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be still the case. At least her reasonings are better than quote unquote, better than Rabble's, put it that way. For Miles. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Will Iman Balani and Sabir Pirzada get another miniseries out of this? We don't know. As far as we know right now, this is ending with the end of the Krakoan era, which I guess unless there is something else to say outside of the fact that, hey, Lockjaw loves Red Dagger. He's a good boy. He's a very good boy. Always great to see Lockjaw.
Yeah, we don't see Lockjaw enough right now.
Indeed. So now with that, we can go into the last book of the Krakoan era. And that is X-Men number 35, legacy numbering 700.
All right. So, deep breath, folks, because this roster of creators is pretty long.
Oh, you're going to run it? Okay.
Yeah. Because, at least for the main story.
Okay.
Right? There are backup stories.
Right.
X-Men number 35, a.k.a. Legacy number 700, is written by Jerry Duggan, Al Ewing, and Kieron Gillen, with art by Joshua Cassara, Phil Noto, Lucas Verneck, Lane L. Francis Yu, Walter Simonson, Mark Brooks, John Romita Jr., and Scott Hanna, Jerome Opeña, Luciano Vecchio, Stefano Caselli, and Sarah Pichelli. Color art is by Phil Noto, David Curiel, Laura Martin, Sonia Obach, Marcio Miniz, and Matt Hollingsworth, and Matthew Wilson, with letters by VC's Clayton Cowles. As I mentioned, there are some backup stories in here, some interesting backup stories that are written. One of them specifically by Chris Claremont with art by Salvador LaRocca. That was nice to see them get back together on an X book and tell kind of a, the story involves two characters I do not like. Two characters I do like. They all happen to be related, so you can kind of figure out who I'm speaking of.
Yes. Of which we knew they were going to come back to this. So.
Right.
Or close this out, I should say, with that.
Right. So, what I'll say about this book is that one, the main cover is actually really good by Pepe Larraz. Right. That's an incredible gatefold, like a 2-page cover.
Mm-hmm.
We have an interesting twist on the ending to, was it the first X-Men movie?
Yeah.
Right?
Which part are you talking about?
When they lock Magneto up.
Oh, yes.
Yes. You didn't notice that?
I didn't think about it in that respect, but yes.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting twist to that. And it's funny to see the reversal of fortunes for two old friends, Magneto and Professor Charles Francis Xavier. It's definitely interesting to see them to see the writers and editorial veer in one completely different direction for one character, and in a familiar direction for another character,
Mhm.
as well as see what they wanted to do with um and see what they want to do with Krakoa. I thought that was an interesting twist. There is a
Yeah.
twist on what they end up doing with Krakoa. There's also a twist on what they end up doing with Apocalypse in this comic. That is a big part of this comic because
Mhm.
Apocalypse was such a big part of Krakoa and Krakoan magic and all that jazz that was still pretty confusing to read.
And he is quick
Uh,
to say so in this issue.
what's that?
And he is quick to say so in this issue.
Right, right. He is very quick to claim credit for that. We do see, interestingly, um, uh, a couple of dangling plot lines that were established in the pages of this volume of X-Men. Not wrapped up, but still continued forward, like the Doctor Doom, not the Doctor Doom, the mutants under Doctor Doom's care. All right, the Latverian mutants. Right?
Right.
It's very small, but it's still moving forward. That's my point.
Sure.
Right? They didn't just abandon it. That's really my point.
Right.
So bottom line is, and I'll hand this off to Roddykat. I suspected that they were going to have some sort of epilogue, but they fold it all in, like a book or two to set up as like an epilogue. This is like an Omega issue on its own.
Hmm.
This basically ties up a lot of the fall of Krakoa stuff, and we're probably going to go straight into from the Ashes, straight out of the events that are told within this issue, including the backup stories.
Right. Which we knew though, because we
Uh,
even said that like a week or so ago. I was like, yeah, this is going to be the issue where they kind of did all of that and pretty much set
right.
things up. So yeah, this is definitely the epilogue of this for some stuff, and definitely like you said, going into the rise from the ashes stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um. So, I'm not sure. Well, there's really not much else to say. There's a couple of I found a couple of good points that I found amusing, such as Charles being petty. That had to do with a certain phrase that people have been saying coming out of well, not even coming out, even well before X-Men '97, but in relation to his old friend that
Right.
people were saying, and that Charles is like, all right, so say it, go ahead and say it. and maybe it was like, really. And I do love how they went from there, and pretty much the rest of the backup stories were like, okay, well, we're going to use Charles to set up the rise from the rise stuff. I mean, from the it's not even rise, it's just from the ashes. But kind of go into that, take care of the whole Nightcrawler family stuff. Sorry, I spoiled it there, but look, if you've been keeping up with the Krakoan Era, you kind of been showing it. And I feel like still coming out of this, even though this book is definitely the finality that you would probably want, I feel like there's still some stuff in the Krakoan Era that probably not even thinking about, that there still is left on the table or just been forgotten about. I
Mm-hmm.
just can't think of too much of what that is at this point. Unless, well, probably the Rasputin future stuff and the more future leaning stuff, but the future is what it is, so that matters less regardless, or will, regardless, depending on how they handle it going forward. So, but yeah, outside of that, hey, it's a long read. I was going to joke and say if Agent 70 had read all of the creative team book names off of the book, it would have been longer than the book itself, and this is a long ass book. So it's not quite that long, but there's a lot of names to this issue, and a lot of stuff that goes on to it in wrapping up the conclusion. And
Yep.
now we're here. We got no more. That's it. That's it, folks. Until July, when the machine starts back up again.
Yeah, to paraphrase to paraphrase Porky Pig.
Yes. that was what I was going to say. So there was a concept from the Krakoan era that pretty much gets quote unquote righted here in relation to the 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 uh the extra amount of mutants that were in a certain place,
Right.
and some time stuff that we hadn't seen since they brought up the whole Children of the Vault stuff during the course of the Krakoan era. Some would say it's something similar to that, but I didn't think after Rise or whichever that last book was, I didn't think we were going to see them ever again. So the fact that they came back and kind of epilogue that stuff, and also probably given a potential comeback at some point down the line if someone wanted to take that up, it kind of left it open to where it's like, hey, this is a thing that could be out there when y'all are ready for it, type situation. But I suspect that's probably not going to happen. But I love that they put it out there like that. You gonna say something?
No. I said I agree.
Oh, okay. But yeah, that's X-Men 35 Legacy 700, man. It went out. I was also gonna say that, hey, pretty much everybody on that would have been named on this book has touched an X-Men book, a main X-Men book during the course of the Krakoan era. But that's not true because Hickman was not in here, and he was the one who started it off. And I'm pretty sure, and I know there is a couple of other creators that had nothing in this book that hadn't touched this one. But I can go so far as to say like the main couple of X-Men books, depending on what that is to you, I guess that might make a difference. But no, there's a couple of clear ones. All of those folks had a hand in this book. So Strange clap. The Krakoan era is over. I'm missing it, but I guess we got to move on and hope From the Ashes comes to be some compelling stuff.
Yeah, the teases for the From the Ashes stuff at the end of this issue were a little hit and miss for me. I got a kick out of the Kate Pryde one.
Yeah.
Man of Steel. Oh, me, my ex.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
was like, where is it? Where is it?
Right. Yeah, I was like, yeah, that was cute. That was real cute. Speaking of things, one of them harkens back to the Free Comic Book Day, even though they didn't footnote it there, because something we see play out in that Free Comic Book Day seems like it got started from here, or unless they're just going on.
Kind of find out what might be behind a door.
Right. So, like, okay, so that's connecting, and I can't remember which book that's going to be a part of, but regardless, we know it's something they're going to take up when things pop back in.
Right.
But yeah, good stuff. That being said, I think that's it for the books that we have in common. It is. So, rapid fire.
Rapid fire review time.
I ain't got time to bleed.
All right, first up for me is Amazing Spider-Man number 51. It's written by Zeb Wells with pencils by Ed McGuinness and Todd Knock, with inks by Mark Farmer, Todd Knock, Cliff Rathburn, and Wade Von Grawbadger. Colors by Marcio Meniz, Eric Arciniega, and Brian Valenza. And letters are, of course, by our favorite lettering paisan, BC's Joe Caramagna. Yeah, it's... Spoiler alert. Spidey not in his right mind against the Sinister Six. And guess who might come to save the day? But a really awful Zeb Wells creation. Right? It's an alternate, it's a new direction for a former Scarlet Spider. We'll put it that way. Okay?
I got a question before you move on. Did they waste Todd Knock's art again?
Kinda. But it was fun because there's a lot of cool fights.
Okay.
Next up is Blood Hunters number 2. It is an anthology book. There are 3 stories in here, all related to Blood Hunt. I won't go through all of the creative teams, but I will tell you that the only reason I read this book is to keep up with the Dagger and Elsa Bloodstone story. So that was interesting. Um, Next up is Ghost Rider Final Vengeance #4. It's written by Benjamin Percy with art by Danny Kim, colors by Brian Valenza, and letters by VC's Travis Lanham. The only reason why I'm picking this up is because I'm trying to see what befalls Johnny Blaze, to see where he is now in the Blood Hunt Midnight Suns book, right? I'm kind of curious to see if that is how this particular Final Vengeance limited series ends. It probably is, because it would be hard to have them running simultaneously. And this is just a big character study on the Hood, Parker Robbins, and his, believe it or not, domestic situation. So that seems to be a big focus on the book. I'm just in it to see what happens to Johnny Blaze. Next up is Wolverine Blood Hunt #1. It's written by Tom Waltz with art by Juan Jose Rip, colors by Guru EFX, and letters by VC's Corey Petit. Wolverine is no stranger to fighting vampires, and in this book we have guest appearance. I have a guest appearance by a character introduced in, I think, the 2020 Wolverine ongoing series, who happens to also be a vampire. And obviously that is a logical person for Wolverine to work with in a Blood Hunt story. And that's it for me.
Okay. And luckily, Wolverine's, got some equipment that is suited to the task of hunting vampires. Go figure.
Right.
All right. For myself, we got. I said we were gonna drop back to this. My Adventures with Superman, #1 of 6. Written by Josie Campbell, who, if you watch the show, of course, is also one of the writers. I think maybe a showrunner. I can't remember, but definitely a writer on the show. Art by Pablo M. Collar. Colors by Nick Filardi, and letters by Lucas Gaffoni. So this story takes place between seasons 1 and 2. It is dealing with Clark having his first Christmas away from the farm, and what the team is doing to make sure or more specifically, I guess to say, Jimmy and Lois do, to make it a good one for them. But this is Metropolis, and things happen. Of course they do. So, which brings up an association that I think has only been mentioned during the course of the show to this point, but we do see at least someone associated with that group that comes up, or another secret group, not the one that has definitely popped up prominently in the show, I should say, or starting to pop up prominently, I should say. But of course, there are shades of the story, another reason, because there's you got a fight with Superman and some tech that shows itself back up and possibly needs some help from the Man of Steel for reasons that we don't know. Next up, Birds of Prey #10, written by Kelly Thompson, with art by Robbie Rodriguez and Gavin Goudry, colors by Jody Belair, and letters by Clayton Cowles. So, we're continuing the Birds' strange trip to the far side, and not the group where they found out about where they are and what's going on with the situation, and they meet a new potential friend that knows what's going on with the situation, and ties it back to why they are looking, or why the group is trying to find one Barbara Gordon, and a potential future thing that happens with her that may or may not be the catalyst to all of this. And Yeah, I think that's pretty much the most to say about it. It's Birth of Prey has been a fun read, um, and it continues to be so. I love Big Barda in this book. I love Big Barda, period. But but in this particular issue where she's kind of going through some things, and because of the world, partially because of the how the world is shaped, um, is kind of interesting. So. With that, we go to the last book that I have, and that is number 2, written by David Pepose. Which actually, I got so excited about my stinker. Written by David Pepose, art by Jonathan Lau, colors by Andrew Dahlhaus, and letters by Taylor Esposito. And this is a potential click of the week for myself. So we get a little bit more on the Space Ghost past before he became Space Ghost. We see definitely shades of, as I said when we talked about the first issue, similarities between Space Ghost and, say, a Batman in one particular respect. I guess 1 or 2 in an early version of Batman, I should say. But also, well, let's just say things start to come together in the way that folks who classically know Space Ghost kind of come together. So that's there is that. Also, worth noting that there is a preview for the Johnny Quest cartoon comic book, that happens in the very middle of this book. Like it just is Space Ghost 1 minute and then poop. Here's a preview for Johnny Quest, like right up in here. And it ties back to the Free Comic Book Day, which I need to actually go back and read, because thanks to our associate PC_Turd, I got a copy of now.
Nice.
So I didn't think I was actually going to see a preview of that in this issue, or anytime soon. But there we go. So yeah, so you can check that out. But yeah, I'm still continuing to enjoy this book, and that, folks, is it for me. Flicks of the week.
Flicks of the week. I have 2. I think I have 2 candidates, really.
I think I got 3.
I liked Scarlett. Number 1, it was okay. I think I'll go with either Ultimates or X-Men.
So, I Ultimates is one of mine. Space Ghost is one of mine. Scarlet is one of mine. X-Men 35 is kind of up there, definitely, but it was a lot.
Yeah, because there's so much going on.
Yeah. As a closeout to the Krakoan era.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was about to say, as a closeout to the Krakoan era, it is definitely a great book, or it's definitely a good book. For kind of closing everything out. What you were gonna say?
No. That's it. I was just gonna say, I think I'm gonna go with Ultimates number 1.
Okay. It's
for the reasons why we that we mentioned earlier, that despite the fact that they nerfed Thor, which I'm never a fan of, I definitely like some of the writing in there. Dennis Camp does a good job with having this version of Tony Stark being not Young Avengers Tony Stark, aka Kang. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it kind of is.
Right. I think the version of Iron Lad. Yeah.
Sorry, I think there's influence of that Iron Lad portrayal there.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, but I liked Ultimates number 1.
Yeah, I did too. I agree with you on all of that. Look forward to seeing what continues to go on with this book. Yeah, like I think I like Scarlet more than Agents ever did. Sounds like, but I think I'm going to go, and like I said, X-Men 35/700 definitely is. But I think I am going to go with the one, the only.
Space Ghost!
You know, there you go. I enjoyed it a whole lot.
All righty.
And with that, folks, we're going to go into the news section. But first, an ad read.
All right, our first ad read is for Blue Apron. Blue Apron's meal delivery service features fresh ingredients and incredible recipes delivered weekly to your door. Skip the grocery store and make incredible meals at home with Blue Apron, always shipped free right to your home. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can get $30 off your first Blue Apron order. To place your first order with $30 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down to the Blue Apron link and sign up for your first order. Blue Apron through cspn.us. Do it today. Now we get into the news.
I don't know why one of my transitions are back. Cinematic news as we do about this time. So apparently, one Mark Guggenheim, the runner of the Arrowverse stuff, or I guess it says here co-mastermind of the Arrowverse stores, said that there were some challenging characters to cast from the Arrowverse stuff. And here's an article that he shares as to why said characters were. And it sounds like the characters of Dina Drake, Dina Drake, Black Canary, and Zari Tarazi from Legends of Tomorrow were challenging for different reasons. Not going to go into all of them, into what they were, but yeah. I still say they messed up with the with how they did the original Dinah character, but hey, that's just me. Next up.
All righty, so do we really need this?
Somebody who likes it.
I'm editorializing. I'm not reading this article word for word. That's crazy. So back in 2018, the world got a new version of Batman with Batman Ninja. This was an ambitious anime adaptation, giving the story of Batman and Bruce Wayne an all-new makeover. So now we're getting a sequel. So Warner Brothers Japan has confirmed Batman Ninja versus Yakuza League is in the works, and we have a sneak peek at the logo. Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So let's see if there's a date release window. It does. There's no timing yet, but they do have a logo ready for it.
Right. Which I was looking at that on that site that will not be named at the moment because we will be talking about it later. But
right.
Next up,
have you watched Batman Ninja?
I was that's what I was going to do. No, I hadn't. That was the other reason why I brought that up, because I was like, yeah, I need to watch that at some point, and because I know they got the part one of that Crisis on Infinite Earth or whatever it is on there that I kind of want to check out more than Batman Ninja. But yeah, I will check that out at some point soon.
I watched it. It's okay.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's nothing to write home about. I think I watched it because I was looking for something to watch and just decided to put something on.
Makes sense. You know what? Why don't you take this next one?
The Lord of the Rings of Power Season 2 will reportedly be venturing off without one fan favorite character. Nazanin Boniadi will not be around for the second iteration of Prime Video's Lord of the Rings series. That means fans will have to go without Bronwyn for Rings of Power this time around. Deadline reported this detail first and clarified that Boniadi's role in the show was not recast. Of course, Bronwyn is the lover of Arondir, the elf warrior She also plays mother to Theo. Interestingly, both of those other characters are present in season 2, so we'll have to see what's going to happen moving forward. Okay.
I like that
So
character.
Boniati's absence is due to her hiatus from acting as she advocates for women in Iran. Good for her. Or
Yeah.
Iran. Good for her.
Yeah. Yeah, which hey, that was a great character, I thought. So yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with that. Which we didn't know. This is probably the only thing we have seen any bit of from that show. So sad news, but news nonetheless, I guess. Daredevil's Kristen Ritter addresses Marvel Return. What just happened? Oh, stop it. So let's see. While she didn't confirm her involvement with the Daredevil reboot, she did address that the famous fashion choice that she had on during her show, and I guess that she still has the shirt, and she has reaffirmed her love for Jessica Jones. But yeah, it says here that despite everybody else that has been slated to come back, she doesn't sound like she has been propositioned to come back. So, or let me rephrase that, she hasn't confirmed it, so we don't know. So if she has been approached, then we don't know one way or another just yet. Which kind of reads to me that she probably hasn't, but that's just me editorializing. She also says that, hey, that means so much to me. That the character means so much to me. It's funny that one little thoughtless Instagram story of my cute T-shirt that I love got that reaction because yeah, I saw something about that. I think she had on the shirt from the show, and or had the shirt around on her Instagram post, and people went wild with speculations, thinking that she was going to be back for the show because of that, which does not seem to be the case. Next up.
Sam Wilson is back. I was going to say, yeah, you said it correctly. We'll see.
Right.
Sam Wilson is back in action this week in Atlanta, where Captain America Brave New World began a round of additional photography with a new actor now in the cast. Giancarlo Esposito, bugging out, who for a few weeks had hinted at his involvement in a Marvel Studios project, is officially on the call sheet in an undisclosed, but sources say villainous role. The shoot's going to run 22 days, according to insiders. Among the added elements will be some new action sequences. The director remains the same, and the movie itself wrapped principal photography in the spring of 2023, just in time to get out of any direct impact from the writers and actors strikes. So, it didn't have to be shut down, but of course, post-production had to be halted for a little while. But now they're in second, post-production photography because principal photography was wrapped before the strikes.
Yeah. Also, shout out to the eclectic blurty niche, aka Von Gloom, who just joins us in the chat talking about how do I miss more than half the show on a Thursday that I'm off. Sir, and I don't know, but we started late also, so
check your notifications.
Yeah. He also asked, I think we're actually getting to that. No, he talked about that. So Von Gloom asked, is Giancarlo Gyrick? And I'm like, that would be an interesting role for him.
It would be. It would be.
But we don't know.
I had not heard any speculation.
Right.
On that.
Same.
But the images I saw of his set photos has him with like a vest with knives, which doesn't strike me as Gyrick, but then again, it is the MCU, so you never know.
Right. Yeah. I had not even seen that much, so that's interesting.
I mean, it might be like a classic redone, kind of a classic. When I say classic, that's very much tongue-in-cheek because Captain America's Rogues Gallery is pretty shallow.
Yes.
But I can think of maybe it's my guess is that it was a character who ran around with a Batroc Zilliper.
I guess technically he's still around too, but I know that wouldn't be by this by Giancarlo. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Because I hadn't heard any speculation at all. So yeah, that's yeah. Who knows? Next up, though, speaking of Captain America villains, Daniel Bruhl is confident that we will see his Baron Zemo again. Quoting, he basically like, "I'm not dead. I'm still not dead." By the way, here's a quote that says, "It's fine for me. I can wait. I'm a very patient man." You know, because yeah, I guess he hasn't been. He doesn't, as far as we know, he doesn't have a part of Thunderbolts either, which would be a likely place for him to show back up. So, but he's saying he hasn't. Doesn't sound like he's gotten a call.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he's talking about stuff he's doing in the meantime. So, but it basically says here is that wrapped up another show called The Franchise, where it's actually a satire about the superhero universe. So it was fun to switch sides, so to say. But knowing Marvel, they have a lot of sense of humor, so they will probably find it as funny as I did. And who knows? I mean, I'm still not dead. I'm very confident that I'll be back. End quote. Sure. He's not dead yet. Next up.
Alrighty. Yeah. No, my gut says it might be a character named Machete that teamed up with Zaran and Batroc. That's my gut.
Okay.
Because that's what his costume reminds me of. Because if I recall, Machete had a bunch of knives, and obviously he carried a machete.
Yeah, but we got Danny Trejo right there.
I mean, it could be a rejiggered Zaran also, because Zaran obviously has some really funky looks to him. But yeah, like I said, Cap's Rogues Gallery was never the strongest. Right. So, like if it, like once you get past like Red Skull, it's Batroc's Brigade. That's what the group is called.
Right. Okay,
take a look at your Hotmu folks. Look up Batroc's Brigade, and you will see the entries for those two very minor villains.
And there you go. Also, Von Gloom also says it. The only machete I acknowledge is Trejo. Agreed. Anywho,
all right. Let me get to that next story. Wait, so you did I'm Not Dead?
Yeah.
Marvel's next Avengers movie will reportedly feature more than 60 MCU characters. Good. Alrighty. Let me get this article open and see. Let's see. Deadpool and Wolverine director Sean Levy is apparently in talks to direct the next Avengers movie for Marvel Studios. And he mentioned, and the report mentions that Marvel has been working hard in recent months to pull this together, so shooting can begin next year on one of Marvel's largest productions to date. That 60 MCU characters could reprise their roles, including everyone from Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth, and Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Hiddleston, Simu Liu, and Karen Gillan. Okay.
That makes
where is it reported?
Deadline.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. At least it's a reputable publication, even though it's still rumor.
Right. Which is why I put it in here. Because there's another article I almost put in. I was like, I don't know what that place is. We're not going to use that. I don't know. That whole 60 MCU characters, like, yeah, I guess we know there's a bunch still around, but also that kind of screams time shenanigans to me for some strange reason.
Yep.
So if that happens. So we don't know. Regardless, next up, dystopian future car comic Petrolhead, which I think came out this week, now that I think about it, is optioned for film adaptation. Petrolhead, the comic about a colorful, high-stakes racing robots in a future where climate change has destroyed society, much like probably actually, may soon be coming to theaters. Indeed, Lee Brazier of Mr. B Films, which doesn't even sound like a real film company, has optioned Petrolhead for film. The book, which is by creators Rob Williams and Pi Parr, was a hit. Okay. When it debuted at the end of last year, and as it would have it, the collected trade is out today. There we go. That's what that was. So, okay, yeah, I'll take their word for it. I actually wanted to take a look at that book when it first came out, and I just never did. So, but anyway, next up.
Nice. Max has announced the price increase on the streaming service's ad-free plans. The standard ad-free plan will now cost $16.99 a month instead of $15.99 a month, while the 4K ad-free plan will cost $20.99 a month instead of $19.99 a month. The price increase goes into effect today, right away, for subscribers. Actually, that was a couple of days ago, so it's already in effect, folks.
Thank goodness I don't have to deal with it. Folks, look at your cable and or cell phone plans. Maybe you might have access to it, so you can forego this mess.
Mm-hmm.
Side note, I know, I feel like I know what you're going to say, Agent 70, but I'm going to put this out there anyway because I saw Von Gloom ask like a couple of days ago. Is there anything on Apple TV Plus that you would recommend?
Other than Ted Lasso?
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
No, whatchamacallit? Let me pull it up because I don't want to misquote titles, but I do have a few things that I definitely would recommend that actually came recommended to me, and I grew, and I was very much impressed by them. One of them was Severance.
Oh yeah, you did mention that also. Yeah.
Severance is a great series. I can't wait for season 2 to drop, and if it has already dropped, it has not. That was a great show, Severance. I'm in the middle of well, actually, Monarch. We both watched Monarch.
Yeah, I was going
on
to
Apple
if
TV.
you hadn't said it.
Yeah. So, Monarch.
There's some.
I've heard good things about For All Mankind.
Right, which brings me to what I was about to say. There is some sci-fi leaning stuff that streaming service has a good bit of, or a decent amount of, that seems compelling, like that show that Agent 7 just mentioned. I just never got around to checking it out before I let the Joker lapse. And of course, the Peanut stuff is on there.
There's Dark Matter also. What's that?
The Peanut stuff. Yes,
and there's I think Dark Matter is a popular show that's sci-fi, I think, as well.
Yeah, I've heard about that one. It's not the Dark Matter. It's not the same Dark Matter that was on Sci-Fi though. It's a different one, which was a great show, which was made off of a graphic novel. So
right. So that seems to be popular. But yeah, in terms of what I've watched on Apple TV Plus, that would be it so far. I haven't really gotten back to look for other things. But yeah, no, I was very happy with Monarch. I know Roddykat was too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, totally. And of course, hey, Fraction had something to do with it, so there was, we got some comic book leanings in there. I know you didn't ask for that, Von Gloom, but I remember you asking about it on Twitter, so I was like, I figured I'd bring it up. But and Von Gloom was like, "Damn you, Saslov!" Like, yeah, we've been saying that for a while now.
Yeah.
Back to this article. So next up, though, Goosebumps season 2 full cast has been confirmed. I know there's going to be someone that might see this if they haven't already and be jumping up for joy for this. I am probably not of that person because I was not of the Goosebumps era. But yeah, it sounds like let's see, the second season's cast is growing. Oh, you're welcome, Von Gloom. You're quite welcome. Let's see. Joining the cast of season 2 is a bunch of people whose names I'm not gonna remember, but none of these people I know. Doesn't seem like I know any of these names. Either way. So, according to this article, as by deadline, all of the roles are going to be recurring roles. Apparently, David Schwimmer is a part of this cast. Okay, I guess. So yeah, there you go. Goosebumps season 2, more people in it. Next up.
Okay. That would explain why. Jeez. The Boys season 4 posters introduce a new soup, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character. So on the Twitter official account for The Boys, it revealed a handful of new posters for the upcoming 4th season of The Boys. And you get to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character, and there is a new soup in the character poster named Firecracker, played by Valerie Curry. And Sister Sage, the new soups they are Firecracker, played by Valerie Curry, and Sister Sage, played by Susan Hayward.
There we go. There, yeah. Those are the two people right there. If you're watching the video version, I think.
Right. Yes. The two. Yeah. The two women characters.
Yeah. I was flipping through the posters I had, and that was the last one.
Yeah, I had to flip through them also.
Okay, cool. Next up, for the video game folks like myself, and might see this as with a little bit of interpretation for a reason, but live action Like a Dragon Yakuza series coming to Prime Video. So Sega's Yakuza, long running Yakuza series is getting a live action show. Which I'm not gonna lie, I love those. I like those games. I haven't played all of them because they're long and slightly ridiculous in places, which is the good part about them. So October 24th is when this new series, which is going to be 6 episodes, long. That's when this is we're gonna get out there. So I will definitely be checking that out. And it looks like, let's see, yep. So the main character of the mainline Yakuza series, Kazuma Kiryu, is going to be the main character of this show. So, and that's the kind of thing you want to see, which means there's a good chance we'll see some other Yakuza staples. Sister Sage sounds like some stereotypical New Age Wiccan. I guess, but hey, you know what? She knows how to clear a room, I guess. Or cleanse a room, I should say. But anyway, next up.
Excuse me.
Oh, you all right over there?
Just Cause movie adaptation. Just a little bit of choking on what you're drinking, just a little too fast sometimes. Just Cause movie adaptation is finally moving forward after decade-long development and development hell. Universal Pictures has secured producing partners and director for Just Cause video game adaptation, and this is the same director from who did Blue Beetle. I mean, okay. Video game adaptations are gaining traction at the box office, with Just Cause joining the ranks, hopefully, of successful game-to-film projects.
Yeah, which, also have a love of those games. I mean, I feel like that stuff's kind of been done in movies before, but hey, you know what? Sure, why not? We'll see. Video game adaptations are better than what they used to be, so I can safely say that. Next up, though, Maleficent star to lead new Predator movie from Prey director. So Elle Fanning is going to be in the new Dan Trachtenberg's Badlands movie. Per Deadline, let's see, screenwriter Patrick Asen, he leaves planets in orbit, will once again pen the script. That was me slightly editorializing that's a pop up. But if you're an Old Dirty Bastard fan, good on you. So yeah, that's about the size of it. I'm sitting here like, okay, bring back Old Girl from Prey. That's, and this is, it says here there's a direct sequel to Prey. Maybe she's gonna.
No. It says that there's another one.
Oh wait, is there a? Oh yes, you're right. You said Badlands is set to serve. I'm sorry, I missed that sentence. Badlands is set to serve as its own Predator film, with the studio hoping to launch a new separate series. And there is a direct sequel to Prey called Prey 2, which is reportedly still in development, with Amber Mid Thunder set to return. There we go. That was the news I was looking for. Okay. So, okay, cool. I feel better now. Next up.
Yeah, I wonder. I was
What's
going to say, I wonder what period of time they're going to set.
Oh, Badlands? Yeah. That's a good
things.
question. Yeah, because there's really not much, outside of this casting, there's really not much.
Because we've already gotten, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and pre-colonial America.
Right.
So I wonder what timeline they're going to drop this Badlands movie in. The 1800s, I presume, because that's like what's in between.
Perhaps. Or maybe some dystopian future.
True. Oh. Alrighty, next up. The new Alien Romulus trailer channels classic sci-fi horror. Okay. It looks like the Alien franchise is making a return to its horror roots. Let's see. The film has a good new poster that hints at the importance of the classic space huggers. Okay.
Yeah, I've not seen this trailer, but I've seen some people being glowing about this, what they saw. So I don't know. I like Aliens enough, and I'll probably check out this teaser. But yeah, I hadn't had a chance to check this out. Von Gloom says Mid Thunder was Amber Mid Thunder in Legion? I did not know that because I never watched that show.
I didn't either. She was probably the one who played Danny Moonstar, if that's the case.
That would make some sense if that was the case. They should set it in a Wayland in the Wayland Corporation future. Wayu. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Wayu is probably going to be all up and through there regardless. Yes, she was. She was Carrie.
Okay.
I'm not sure who Carrie is. But yeah, because I hadn't watched Legion, so and that's only
same.
So, but same. Yeah, what's that? What are you gonna say?
No, I'm just saying. I'm like, well, if they didn't have that character in Legion, I'm presuming if they did do Danny Moonstar anyway, it would have been in that New Mutants movie that nobody watched.
Right. No, she shared a body with an old white dude. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't know very little about Legion except for the fact that old sleepy-eyed girl was in it. It is who's so this is Alien Romulus. There's a trailer, there's a teaser here. Hey, bring back some good old classic aliens, I guess. We'll do with it what we will, I guess. And actually, speaking of aliens, next up.
Oh, this is your story.
Oh, is it? Okay. I'll read that in a second. Alien Hulu series, a release schedule, and so basically, it looks like Hulu's gonna have an Alien show on Hulu. I just said that. Excuse me. According to Deadline, Noah Hawley is a part of it, I guess, and that the series remains in production in Thailand until July, until he recently wrapped work on the episodes that he directed. Ridley Scott is also the executive producer of this series, and it looks like that the first. Oh, it says additionally, Hulu wants to maintain momentum with Alien's release schedule by having the first 2 seasons come out with as little a time gap as possible in 2025. So, sure, okay. All hot and heavy on aliens, I guess. Von Gloom said that he watched the New Mutants movie. I still haven't watched that yet either. I mean, I have not watched it myself. 870, you think you said you did or not? I can't remember.
Nope.
Yeah,
I think I tried.
gotcha. He was the brains and she was the fighter. Oh, going back to Amber Midthunder's character in Legion. Gotcha. Okay. Well, next up though.
Yay! So this is a story that dropped literally right after we recorded the last episode, our previous episode. Godzilla Minus One is now streaming on Netflix and is available for digital rental and purchase as of June 1. So it was very funny that just as we were getting off the air, this news dropped.
Yes.
I have already watched it on Netflix. It was still a lot of fun watching it on my iPad. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice that it's already out. Finally.
Yeah, it also says that minus one minus color is also out for purchase and rental.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to assume, I thought I saw another article about this, that, well, clearly this means that it's not that much longer for a physical release.
Right.
Which is what I'm waiting for, honestly. But I will watch it, not as on Netflix, and I still have my Netflix. I will definitely watch it, but I do want to get a physical release of this and minus color.
Yeah, I want to get it. I'd like to get the physical copy too. I definitely don't want to buy a digital until I get the physical.
Exactly, because you can get it with it. So, and we already saw the Blu-ray is kind of out in the kind of the specs of the Blu-ray is already out there and what it's going to have in it. So it's just a matter of time for it to just drop over here.
Yep.
But yeah, if you haven't, and Von Gloom said you need to watch that Godzilla. I do too. I haven't watched it yet either. I know this is like Agent 70's like third or fourth time watching it probably.
Second only.
I don't know if he watches it like he watches Haikyuu. We don't. You know, he could be doing it next week for. After we get off of here, for all I know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know if I want to watch the dub just to hear what it sounds like, because I know that the dub is out there on Netflix.
Sure.
Because I watched it subtitled in the theaters and on Netflix, so which is obviously my preferred mode of viewing. But at the same time, if you just want it on in the background, it's still fun to kind of hear and what's going on, and that might be a good way to do it. Like, you're literally folding your laundry, fresh from the dryer, and Godzilla Minus One is on in dub form.
What I want to see, even though it'll be hard to well, there are ways to do it, but it'll be hard to do it. But a lot of movies are starting to get captions with audio captions, I should say.
Right.
With audio descriptions, and I kind of want that. And I don't know if this one has it yet, but I'll have to check because there's a couple of movies and shows that I've seen with that stuff. It's like, okay, back in the day when I used to record stuff off of the TV, that would be helpful. It'd be like a listen to an audiobook. And yes, folks, you used to have to tape sometimes when you didn't have a VCR, tapes audio stuff off, tapes TV stuff off an audio. Anyway, we're gonna keep pushing because that's dragging up bullshit. Toonami Rewind premieres with the perfect opening. So yeah, that Toonami Rewind block has since hit back on May 31st. So I'm sure there are folks that are enjoying that 5 to 7 block with Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, and all the other stuff that is there, reliving their childhoods. Or I guess there might be some new folks kind of getting into it, if there is such a thing at this point. It says here that, the great thing about Toonami Rewind is that it doesn't replace the current Toonami block either. It's just on at a different time, early in the day. Which, and also the regular Toonami block is where My Adventures with Superman is. As I forgot. So, and actually, wait, it says, let's see, My Adventures with Superman, Zom 100, One Piece, Naruto Shippuden, Dragon Ball Z Kai, Ninja Kamui, and Demon Slayer Entertainment District Arc is the current Toonami block.
Oh, I forgot to play the transition.
No, we're not there yet, but we will be in this next one.
All right, Anime Corner.
Transmute.
Alrighty, One Piece is now in the midst of setting up the next major phase of the Egghead arc, and the promo for episode 1108, 1108, shows the first look at what's coming next. Good lord.
Huh.
1108 anime episodes. That's crazy, yo.
Yeah, it is a engine that's continuing to go. I know there's some people. I think Von Gloom is probably one of the watchers as well. And I know I know of a couple of One Piece fans. So not to slight them, but yeah, y'all are crazy. I was gonna say, yeah, I don't know if 8-70 saw my Instagram story where that transition he used was the focal point of. He probably didn't, but that's pretty
Oh,
good.
no, I didn't.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, they played the scene from that, or somebody had played the scene for that on some Saturday morning thing, or posted they did. So I'm like, yeah, y'all know what the deal is. Anyway, G Kids acquires theatrical home video rights to Dan the Dan anime. No clue what this is. Let's see. I'm assuming video game is what they were supposed to be mentioned in part of this, or maybe there is a videogram that I'm not aware of. But they basically have the rights to this anime adaptation of that thing, which is paranormal mystery, battle, and romantic comedy manga. According to the company, this is the first time handling a first run series as opposed to a retrospective series. G Kids will announce more details in the future. The company streamed an English sub trailer, which is a part of the article that is in the show notes. Next up.
Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba is now in the midst of its 4th season, and fans have gotten the first look and details for what to expect from episode 5. So we're in the midst of the Hashira training arc from the manga, and the 4th season of the series has crossed the halfway mark of its run. Oh my god. So, we're getting Tanjiro training with each member of the Hashira. So
Yep, I haven't checked any of this out yet. So this is, as I joked on Twitter, this is a good time because now I got some episodes built up. I can just go through. Von Gloom says he's not caught up on One Piece, and also that Dan to Dan is a wild manga. A girl who believes in ghosts teams up with a boy who believes in aliens. And there's also a cringy old lady ghost, and he stopped reading after that chapter. Okay, gotcha. Now we go over, speaking of manga, we go over into the manga corner. Which I was going to say we probably don't need a transition for, but I'm glad he played that stinker, so I'm all right. I'm good. I'm good with that. I'm always going to be happy place with Gotcha Man, especially when the book comes out. American Manga Awards announced inaugural ceremony to be held this August, apparently. So the collaboration between Anime NYC creators and organizers, Left Field Media, and the non-for-profit Japan Society organization will be held on Thursday, August 22nd, 2024, just prior to the start of Anime NYC. And it looks as though they have this is an award show that is planned for that date. Some of the areas are Mangaka Hall of Fame, Best New Manga, Best Continuing Manga Series, Best Translation, Best Lettering, Best Publication Design. So this is basically a manga focused award show. Yep. Unlike the anime awards, which is guess the sisters of that. Will it be a popularity contest, just like the the Crunchyroll Awards and the like? We shall see. Probably not, though. Is there anything else? Nope. Oh, for a title to be eligible, it must have been published in English, print, or digital. Hence the name of the award ceremony, I guess, between August 1st, 2023 and July 30th, 2024. And there's a site where you can go to the Anime NYC site to learn about the voting process and eligibility. So, yeah, as somebody commented on this article, I didn't know such a thing didn't already exist. So that's interesting. Next up.
All right, so apparently Chainsaw Man chapter 167 ends with a controversial Evangelion nod.
Oh, there was news about her, but I didn't put it in there.
It's all right. But at the end of the day, this is kind of an adult story, believe it or not.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which, all right. I mean, there's only so much I'm going to talk about on this because it's very much spoilery.
If the only thing I would say is, like, if you are at that cross section of read Chainsaw Man and read / watch Evangelion, you already probably know what this is about, what's going on here. But there's some trauma involved, and that's the extent of it that I will say. It's a specific kind of trauma, but we'll just leave it at that. So, and I haven't been reading the manga anyway, so I don't know. Next up, though. Whoops, what'd you do that for? There we go. So I guess this is a speculation piece. I forgot to take this out of here, but there was this article about what can be expected from My Hero Academia's series epilogue arc. And if you are curious about this article writer's speculations on that, you can check out this article in the show notes. Next up.
Yeah, I was about to say, am I far behind am I on this? Oh, I'm one issue. Interesting.
And now we get over into some comic book news.
All right, I'll try to read this maybe before I go to bed.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
All right, this is my story, right?
Yeah, sure.
Skybound reveals Ultra Mega will return in September 2024. This is James Harren's Ultra Mega, and it will return with issue number 5 on September 18th. This was launched way back in March 2021. The series has been on hiatus, but will now soon return. Okay.
News to me either way, because I don't think I've ever heard of it.
Got me, man.
Yeah.
Good for you.
But
welcome back.
Right. But it sounds interesting from what this is saying, because Kaiju is involved. And
yeah, it's going to be 72 pages long.
Yeah, and it sounds like an Ultraman type situation, so that sounds like something I might want to check out.
Yeah, the cover price is $7.99 because it is 72 pages long.
Right. So maybe we'll go back and try to. I don't know if we even got any copies of that back then, but I'll check. Either way, so yeah, we got a preview for Void Rivals number 10. If you recall last issue that we talked about, Von Gloom says it's mature Ultraman. Got it. Harren just going wild with Ultra Mega. That sounds like something of interest to me then. But Void Rivals teases that the secrets of the Sacred Ring will be revealed as the secret explores the depths of the internet universe. And yeah, 9 kind of had shades of like, hey, we're gonna dip a little bit deeper in melding the goings on in Void Rivals to the rest of I guess to the Transformers part of the Energon universe. So makes sense. Void Rival goes on sale June 26th. So yeah, we'll respect that. expect that then. And of course, Springer is still around. Have you guys mentioned Scarlett? Yes, we talked about Scarlett earlier when we were talking about books.
It was the first book that we talked about.
Yeah, it does. Well, he wasn't around then, so he didn't. It doesn't.
Right? No, I'm just saying. I'm mentioning that it was the first book that came out. I mean that we discussed.
Talked about.
Yeah.
So you can check that out. Go back and check that out. But yeah, thumbs up.
It was good.
Yeah. Next up though, this is you.
Darkwing, right?
Yes.
You want to take it since you're a big Darkwing Duck guy?
Sure. Basically, Dynamite Entertainment is going to reprint every old Darkwing Duck comic book story. Sounds like. So let's see. Yeah, Dynamite announced that they'll be launching a new Darkwing Duck comic book series with the involvement of the original animated series creator, writer Tad Stones. But before that book gets off the ground, Dynamite will be releasing every previous Darkwing Duck comic in a trio of graphic novel compendiums. Sounds like they're doing basically what Skybound's doing with G.I. Joe. So IGN has exclusively debuted the cover art for the graphic novels, which will be offered as standard softcover and hardcover editions, as well as deluxe edition hardcovers. And that is a part of this article here. Why all the images are blurred out, I do not know, but hey, I assume that's probably a subscribe to IGN thing. Probably, I don't know. But there is a Darkwing Duck Kickstarter campaign that is going on right now. The backers have an option to add optional extras like facsimiles of the original Darkwing Duck #1, art prints, and even original commissioned art by artists such as Jay Lee and Ken Hazier. Those who backed the campaign in the first 42 hours will also receive a exclusive mini print. And given that this was posted June 4th, that is well past the 48-hour mark.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, it has very much made its goals, according to this Kickstarter. So it was a $25,000 goal, and it is now up to $201,000. Safe to, and with 26 days to go. So I think it's safe to say that that did what it was going to do. There are a lot of Darkwing Duck fans out there. Who knew? A lot of 90 kids, that's who. Image is doing great with Transformers and G.I. Joe. Yes, not the first time I've had that conversation recently. As I was about to recount a story from another story from my comic book shop, but I won't do it right now because we're still running kind of late. Next up, though,
DC Comics this week published tributes to MD Doc Bright in its comics. And Larry Hama, Dennis Cowan, and Christopher Priest offered heartfelt tributes. Doc Bright was remembered for his chemistry in music and mastery in art, and his pivotal role in Milestone Media and as the artist for Icon, where it was celebrated. Very cool.
And unsurprisingly, Joseph Illich said, basically went out on Twitter and was like, "Your move, Marvel," for doing a similar thing. So, which, you know what? Hey, they should.
Did not know that Larry Hama played music with MD Bright for over 20 years. MD Bright was the bassist, and Larry Hama was the rhythm guitar in the band The Chaotix. Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, I would love to see some footage from that. So, that's pretty cool. But next up, let's see what we got going on here. Whoops, hey, there we go. Exclusive Marvel First Look Venomverse Reborn #1. You can take a look at that if you care. I really don't. Next up.
I saw this story. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a great lineup too. Captain America has assembled his own team of Avengers, including Night Thrasher, Photon, She-Hulk, and a Power Pack kid all grown up. So, let's see. So the text that I saw was that in the wake of Blood Hunt, Steve had to put together a team of Avengers, and we read that
Which
book,
we did,
right?
yeah.
So apparently, this is. Let's see here.
This seems
So
like it
this
might be
new
an extension
Avengers
of that.
team. What's that?
I said it seemed like this might be an extension of that, coming out of that, I guess.
Right. Yeah. So this new team will be different than the main Avengers team. It's not based on the West Coast, but it is for emergencies only. The team's official name in comics is Avengers Emergency Response Squad, or Avengers. That's funny. That's funny. So this is written by Steve Orlando with a rotating cast of artists, including Corey Smith, Scott Eaton, Marcelo Ferreira, and Valentina Pinti. So this is spinning right out of that Blood Hunt event, in which Cap assembled a ramshackle new team of Avengers to help out as a friend and to help out with the Blood Hunt event. So in Avengers Assemble, the initial mix of Avengers is Cap, Steve Rogers, Wasp, Clinton Barton, Hawkeye, Hercules, She-Hulk, Photon, Night Thrasher, Lightning, Wonder Man, Shang-Chi, and Lightspeed, the grown-up Julie Power. And this Avengers team is set up in the Avengers Mansion again. That's actually kind of cool. This is a 5-issue limited series, according to this article, and it goes on sale on September 11th, 2024.
Yes, they're taking back the mansion. It's no longer going to be a hotel.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, and that's a great lineup.
Yeah, it's a nice mix of power sets going on there. You got a little bit over there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lots of old and new. And honestly, the second you put Shang-Chi with the 10 rings on, that's a different level of power right there.
This is true. Wait, does it say he's gonna have the 10 rings in this? Well, yeah, I guess so.
That's
It
what's
looks
on the
like he
cover.
has them on. Yeah, it does look like he has them on. So
Yeah,
you're right.
he has them on in that Lano U cover. That's the cover of, I'm presuming, the first issue.
Yeah. So actually, let me blow that up right there for folks who on the video version you can see. Yeah, you've got Jarvis over there on the side, so
It's a wonderful thing.
Right. What was I going to say here? The addition of Wonder Man is always going to trip me out because, and matter of fact, I think Von Gloom had asked this question fairly recent, whether Wonder Man is still a pacifist, and yes, as of what was that, X-Force 4849, he still was. So, which I really wish they would get rid of that because it's so stupid. But I know it's been that way for a while. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This is did we say when it was going on sale? We didn't. I don't think we did. But September 11th, a weird day weird day for anything, but that's the day. September 11th, 2024 is when the first issue is going on sale. I like how this article was like, yeah, I may have buried the lead with the fact that they're going to be back in the mansion again. Like, yeah, you kind of did, but hey, it's all good. Next up, though, new Marvel art book honors the late Civil War cover artist Michael Turner. So Marvel Comics and Clover Press are collaborating on another art book, out on the heels of the Marvel art of Russell Dauterman, which I might want to check that one out. This time around, the focus is on the work of the late Michael Turner, as said, notable for his work on Civil War, Old Man Logan, and more. There is a Kickstarter campaign for the Marvel art of Michael Turner that is live now. And it looks like there's going to be some metal art cards and metal art prints that is that you can get for certain tiers. And let's see where it's at here. So the goal was 10,000. It has made 144,000. I think it's pretty good also, and it still has 20 more days to go as of this recording. And there is the cover of the book if you're watching the video version for it, which, hey, some good looking stuff. which this is one of my fatal, well, not even fatal flaws, but this is one of the flaws because by the time that I was still not really paying that close of attention to the art. And matter of fact, I wasn't even reading that many books during around that time, but still, I remember seeing the Civil War covers and whatnot, so and not knowing who did them. But yeah, there you go. That's out there for folks who are interested. Next up.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Turner did Fathom. He did a lot of Marvel art. Also, not a lot. Not a not. I think a lot is a bit of an overstatement, but he did a good amount. And obviously, they're going to, put out a book like this, in his honor. So, all right. Next up, Hasbro Target exclusive Marvel Legends series Falcon Captain America figure is in stock on its website for $34.99. Guess what, folks? I got mine already. Right here. Right here.
Oh, hold on.
See
Let
that?
me. Here we go. So yeah, you can see if you're watching the video version, you can see Agent 70 holding up his Falcap right there. I told him that I'm definitely probably going to get one or go look for one.
Yeah, it's a nice figure. The wings are nice. It's well done. Very much comic book based from the Symbol of Truth run on Captain America. So, speaking of, the two Captains America running around with the Avengers, we just talked about Steve Rogers Cap running with the emergency response team, and Falcon Cap, Sam Wilson, running with the main team. So you'll see this uniform with the main team. But yeah, the photos in this look pretty cool. And it's great that you can have him, wield the shield and have his wings extended. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, indeed. Yep. Oh, that's me flipping through the photos right there. Von Gloom says, "Guess it's better late than never." Talking about the Michael Turner thing, and Turner made Witchblade shine. Oh, okay. So I remember seeing Witchblade cover. So okay, and that makes sense. Did not know who did those either.
Oh, no, he did Fathom. Right?
Yes, yeah, he also mentions that. Yeah. Yeah, I think he also mentioned. I thought he also mentioned that.
Yeah,
also.
he did work on Top Cow's Witchblade and his creator-owned series Fathom and Soulfire.
Right. Cool.
Right. He did covers for what was that? Identity Crisis,
which just came out
DC.
for which trade just came DC. Out for that. Yeah.
Yeah, with DC.
He
did all those covers.
Right, which actually is the anniversary trade of that just came out this week.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, because I know I saw it in the covers. Yep, there we go. 20th anniversary. Wow.
Yep.
So yeah, next up though, McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman Forever Build a Wave pre-orders drops June 7th. So, well, we have just passed the midnight hour, so technically it is the 7th as of this as of we're recording at this moment. Let's see, Friday, June 7th, the pre-orders open up for, let's see, a Builder Wave inspired by the 1995 film Batman Forever. The collection will include figures based on, Val Kilmer Batman, Chris O'Donnell's Robin, Jim Carrey's Riddler, and Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face. So if you are interested in that, by the time you see this or hear this, rather, if you're not here live, it'll be out there. It says it starts at 9 a.m. PT, 12 Eastern. So at probably your usual suspects. And also Amazon, which is, I guess at this point is a usual suspect. If you're watching the video version, you can see, there you go, a photo with all the characters, likenesses, and there you go. Let's see, do we have a price of the? Do not see a price, but however, let's see. There's a tumbler, a camouflage tumbler, and a Lucius. Well, a camouflage tumbler and Lucius Fox, and a tumbler 2-pack from the Dark Knight. That's for $70. Looks like, and looks like those sold out quickly, so it doesn't really matter. And so it looks like a couple other figures that are also was announced with this. So okay, next up.
The Lord of the Rings movies get a new wave of Funko Pops. Tolkien fans are going to get busy with new Lord of the Rings movies kicking off in 2026. Really? The Rings of Power Season 2 launching on Amazon Prime Video in August, and the Barad-dûr Lego set dropping tonight. Wow. I mean, we talked about that Barad-dûr, that's the Eye of Sauron.
Mm-hmm.
So Funko has launched another big wave of pop figures inspired by the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings films, and it includes the Mouth of Sauron Treebeard with Merry and Pippin, Bilbo at Bag End, and more. Okay, just don't forget to use our link.
Yes, our link, not the article's link.
Use our link, folks.
Although, well, never mind. I'm not going to say how to subvert that. But I was going to say something about this. Yeah, we did talk about they were trying to start up Lord of the Rings movies again in 2026, but it might have been a couple of weeks back. Talked about it. Voltron 40th anniversary Playmates box set includes 5 transformable lions. We might have talked about this before, but I don't remember. Or we talked about another one. That might have been not this particular one.
Nevertheless, I gotta look at this. I really gotta look at this. Hold on.
16-inch Voltron figure also features sound effects and tons of accessories. So no, I don't think we talked about this particular one for sure. The Voltron figures of this type have been released before. As this article says, the Playmate set is priced for basically $110.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, according to this article, that's fairly reasonable when compared to some more elaborate versions that have retailed for much as $700. Pre-orders are available at I'm not even gonna say where, but well, I will say at Entertainment Earth. And it looks like they will be released this November, and you won't be charged until it's on the way, which standard practice for some of that stuff.
Ready to form Voltron.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, hey, from this pictures, it looks pretty good, you know, and it does the thing that you wanted to do.
Right, and it's got a reasonable price point. You know,
Right.
like the article said, there are some more elaborate, expensive versions out there.
Right. So Von Gloom says, thankfully it doesn't move on its own and transform like Optimus and Megatron. I would argue that would make it even that much better. But then again,
Yeah. Oh God! Can you imagine how much better it would be?
But also be like $1,000+ bucks.
Yeah.
So I would, if they made a freaking, well, I would consider that quite heavily. if they made those a Robosin Voltron.
That would be
set.
nuts.
Oh,
that
man,
would
that'd
be
great.
honestly nuts. I don't know what I would do if they literally had, 5 lions that could, move around on their own, and then they formed together to make a moving Voltron. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that would be an impressive engineering feat, honestly.
God, man.
Von Gloom said, if it did, I would be in debt and it would take out a loan to buy you. You wouldn't be the only one. Me and Klarna would be me and Klarna would be more buddy than we already are. So
oh my God, man. Anyway, next up.
Yeah, but this joint right here, and also there's a typo in this article, but we're gonna blaze past that. Haha, blazing sword. Yeah, we'll stay tuned just in case either Agent F70 and or I both getting that set at some point. But next up, oh, this is you because I did them.
What's that?
This is you.
But I thought I just did.
No, I did the Voltron.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
my bad. My bad. Only because I jumped in to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. I feel bad. I do the same
thing.
thing.
We both do the same thing.
Exactly.
Right? So this article has images of the Hot Wheels Transformers track fleet Optimus Prime in hand. We talked about this. It sold out right away. Kind of annoying.
No, this is not the same one. This is not that same one.
No, it did. It is. This is the non-transformable Hot Wheels one.
Did we talk about this one? I thought no, because I thought we talked about the transformable one, yeah, but I don't remember we was talking about this one with the Hot Wheels track.
We definitely talked about this one. This one I remember saying it sold out on Hasbro Pulse.
Okay. But yeah, there are the pictures of it in box.
I want to say I saw it on the Hasbro Pulse and it was sold out. I guess it's available in other places. I'm hoping to grab one.
Yeah, I would love for that other one to be more to come out with it again, but I know that one sold out pretty quick. Oh wait, it says there was a Hot Wheels Bumblebee also. Yeah, there's a Hot Wheels Bumblebee, which that makes total sense because they probably already had that one. That was a Baja Buggy basically, so all they had to do is repaint that one. All right, anyway, next up, new Star Wars card game has been announced. It's a Clone Wars edition of the Star Wars deck building game, which I have the core of that. That haven't cracked open. So this August, Fantasy Flight Games will release the Clone Wars edition of Star Wars the deck building game, as I said, a new standalone version of its deck building game that was released last year. The new edition will feature all the new cards. Will feature all new cards and will not require the original Star Wars the deck building game to play. The two-player game will feature similar gameplay, with each player starting with a basic deck and expanding it by buying a mix of cards for their specific faction and neutral cards. The Clone Wars version will obviously focus on the Republican Separatists, obviously. Although the aim of the game remains the same, with players trying to be the first to destroy 3 of their opponent's bases. So that's cool. Like I said, I never got a chance to actually crack open the base version of the game, but hey, Clone Wars fans unite, I guess. Next up,
video game composer Jeff Fallen, known for his role in crafting 80s and 90s eras songs for the Nintendo Entertainment System, has passed away, unfortunately, at the age of 58 from pancreatic cancer. His passing was announced by his brother and fellow composer Tim in a Facebook post, and Fallen passed away earlier last week while awaiting scans from his pancreatic cancer diagnosis only on May 7th. Oof. That's quick. That's quick.
That's rough. I say it like that. It sounds like Zuko, but yeah, fuck cancer. Just gonna continue to say that.
That sucks.
Yeah. I didn't have a Super Nintendo, so I didn't play this particular version, but I think I might end up revisiting that sometime soon on this channel. So we'll see. Let's see. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. They did music for Terminator 2, Judgment Day video game, and Spider-Man and the X-Men and Arcades Revenge. I played the arcades because I think there was a Genesis version of that, but I know different people handled different versions of the same game during that time, so he didn't do the Genesis version, sounds like. Jeff's last musical contribution to video games industry was the soundtrack to 1995 Batman Forever to the scrolling action for the Super Nintendo, according to condolences to his family and friends. Definitely. Next up, though.
All right. Are we at our last?
Next to last.
Oh, next last. That's you.
First look at Dungeons & Dragons 2024 Monster Manual cover. There it is right there. It's got a beholder on it. Wait, that is a beholder. I believe that's what it is. I'm mixing up my D&D lore. But there is definitely a mimic on that joint. So screw mimics. And yes, let's see. Josh Herman, head of art for D&D, told IGN, "We were inspired by the 2014 cover, which included the Beholder, which is just so iconic. But we wanted to kind of pull out a bit and show the epic action of D&D versus the close-up. So instead of this sort of run for your life and horror vibe from the old version, we wanted to put players in the center and showcase a couple of flavors of hero fighting off this army of monsters. There you go. So, does it say when the monster manual, which I thought was already out? Oh, here we go. Let's see. The monster manual will debut February 18th, 2025, and all 3 of the new core rule books can be pre-ordered starting June 18th. Because there will be new books, because they're always that's not always, but all right. Last
but not least, Webtoon Entertainment takes first steps towards the U.S. stock market. So this is, this is a pretty big step as a business for the Korean digital comics giant, and filed papers with the Securities and Exchange Commission here in the United States. And the prospectus is the first step in announcing to U.S. financial regulators that the company plans to undertake the steps to transition from a privately held company or subsidiary to a larger conglomerate. No, a subsidiary of a larger conglomerate to a publicly listed company on the U.S. Stock Exchange, with, of course, shares for purchase available.
Good luck to them.
So they want to secure a listing on NASDAQ.
Right.
Alrighty.
That, folks, is it for the news. Before we get into the last ad read, Von Gloom said that Batman Forever game was crazy. Maybe I'll revisit that one also. I'm fairly certain I did not play that version either. At the time that it came out. Again, no SNES. All right, one last ad read, sir.
All right, our last ad read of the night is for Amazon. Keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Visit cspn.us and click the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel, or Marvel Legends. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment. Helps us keep the Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Amazon.com through cspn.us. Do it today.
All right, folks, that's it for us. Do we have any? Well, you already did your show and tell, so you don't have to worry about that. But do we have any programming notes for next week?
No, I think we should still be okay on our regular date and time for recording.
Solid. Stay tuned to the Twitch channel because the aforementioned, well, there will be something being played in the next few days. That is for certain. And now that I've gotten a couple other things to kind of check out, or not check out, but revisit on my list, which is a big list already, we can go ahead and try to tackle some of that stuff. And with that, I have been Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter. You can find me at NewsNestNeedle. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. Agent_70 on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. You can also find this here podcast on the Coastal Lizard Podcast Network, the CSPN.us.
Do it today.
And do yourself a favor. Go watch the Coastal Lizard the episode on YouTube. It's out there, free on Hasbro's Joe site or whatever. So anyway. I don't know. Sometimes you just got to put that out there because it was you can see why the network has that name type situation. But you could find this here podcast on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Coastal Lizard Podcast Network SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that's how people will find out about our show.
Indeed. And you can also find us every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, recording on the channels youtube.com/TheKliqNation and twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you know when we are on live, like tonight.
Indeed. Later days, Von Gloom, which always reminds me of The Weekenders when you say that. So that's kind of funny. And with that, folks, this has been the Comic Book Chronicles. Peace.
Peace. One.
Almost over, y'all. I really stand. Lights out now.